First, any public comment upon anything? Okay. Next item is to approve the minutes of the February 15th, 2023 meeting. Motion by Aaron, second by Peter. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Have it. Next, Mount Hope Bridge charging station charging fees.
Yep, I'll take that.
Okay.
Last month, we had this as a discussion item on the agenda. This month, we're bringing this for a board vote. We propose a $2 per hour fee with a cap of 4 hours. After the 4 hours, there would be a idling fee of $4 per hour. The reason why we do the idling fee, and we do it at twice the amount of the regular per hour, is to encourage or persuade those folks to get off the charger so other people can use the charging station.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
How do you monitor that?
We actually have an app. It's called Amp Up. So we can see who's using it. They have to put in their information so we can capture the revenue. So we can see everything that's going on at that
And how do you
location.
enforce it?
It's all through the app.
It's all through the
It's
app?
all through the app. Yep. So at 4 hours, it'll shut it down. So it'll no longer charge, but it will continue to charge them a fee.
Okay.
So we may be one of the first in the public sector or quasi-public sector to be charging for the electricity, but we did consult with bond counsel who said we're purchasing that electricity. We have no right to be giving it away. And in fact, I did check with the Office of Energy Resources. I checked with the city of Newport is charging at the Gateway Center. The Office of Energy Resources said they are certainly heading in that direction. They have a whole legislative package that they intend to introduce next year, but that's the direction they're heading. There is a bill pending in the House by Representative McGaugh, who is from one of our host communities, and her bill talks about electric vehicles and charging stations. And there was a hearing, and if you watched it on Capital TV, she was asked about the charges for electricity, and she said that the bill, left it wide open that, if a business were required to install a station, the business could determine who pays for the electricity. So, but where we're in the quasi-public sector, it really isn't right to be purchasing it and then giving it away. So that was our theory, and so that's why we have this before you.
Bill, have you reviewed it, or?
Yeah, I've discussed it with Lori. I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. I don't know how, as a practical matter, we have these we borrow hundreds of millions of dollars where we say to people, we collect revenue, we operate in a manner to protect the bondholders, and sort of giving away electricity doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense.
If this board were to decide to approve it, you feel
I'm
comfortable?
very comfortable with it.
Further questions, discussion? So, you're looking for a motion to approve the agency in charge for electricity at the
Correct.
charging station.
And
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
if possible, I would like to not lock in as part of the vote, the $2 and $4, just in case things change with costs associated with that.
Okay.
But right now, I would start out at that $2 and the $4.
Okay. So, price to be determined?
If it would be okay, I'd like to go ahead and get approval for the 2 and 4, and should things change, I'd come back to the board and ask for an update on that, whether it be a
So
decrease or an increase.
you do want the 2 and 4.
I'll take the 2 and 4.
Right. But with the stipulation that you will be able to come back to the board and ask for increase or decrease.
Correct.
If deemed necessary. So
Yep.
I have a motion by Darrell. Do I have a second? Karen, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. Next item, routine inspection of the Jamestown Verrazano Bridge.
All right, take that one. So Jamestown is due for its every 2-year routine inspection again. It's due in May. So we solicited cost proposals from 4 of our pre-qualified on-call professional services consultants. 3 of those responded, 1 did not respond. The prices ranged from $628,241 to $1,034,097. Attain came in with the lowest quote, and Attain has done the last couple of rounds of inspections. They've done a great job, nice detailed reports, and we've been very happy with them. So what I'd like to do is recommend that we move forward with approval of a task order for that amount, that lowest amount for Attain. We had $650,000 in the budget, savings to the budget was about $22,000 on this project, on this contract.
That's a not to exceed value, right?
Yeah, always not to exceed, yeah.
Always not, okay. Do I have a motion? Peter, second. Karen, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thanks, Eric. Next item on the agenda is Rhode Island Division Motor Vehicles. Who's on?
That's Kate.
Kate?
So we are requesting approval for a second amendment to the original MOU signed with the DMV around in 2018. These changes, the draft MOU that we have in here were approved by RIPLA Legal and the DMV's legal team, but it has not been signed yet. This will increase the amount of RIPLA employees' access to the DMV RIM system to 9 users. It allows us the ability to print registrations and cancellations to support customer disputes. We also worked out an agreement with the DMV that we would act as a liaison to out-of-state tolling agencies' errors for in-state Rhode Island customers. I'm sure many of you know that Rhode Island issues, for a long time, they issued duplicate license plates, different plate types. This arises in a lot of incorrect violations received by Rhode Island customers out of state. So we have been supporting the Rhode Island customers with the incorrect violations, and we just wanted to memorialize this as a second amendment.
Okay, so you're asking for an increase to 9?
Yes, we started with 3 originally, and then in 2020 we amended it to 5 users. And we're asking to extend it to 9. With our transition to all electronic tolling, we are, probably issuing anywhere from 200 to 400 holds a month. It just, without the cash being collected, there are more unpaid invoices out there.
And is that holds on licenses and car registrations?
Yes.
Okay.
Questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion? Motion by Darrell, seconded by Karen. Further discussion, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Next, capital projects.
So I'll take that one. The Pier 5W girder bearing removal and replacement. We have ongoing meetings to get prepared for the May-ish replacement. We're going to wait until the weather is conducive temperature-wise. We have a meeting, actually we have another meeting scheduled this afternoon with Cardi to discuss the sequence of the replacement of the bearings. Some of you may have heard Cardi in the news recently that they're going through some issues. However, we've had discussions with Cardi and they've assured us that they're on the job, they're continuing to work. A couple of the personnel we were working with have moved to another company, but we still have some of the key people in play. So we're monitoring that situation on the side as well, just to make sure that, if we get to a point where they're non-responsive, we have funds and insurance to collect them. So, but they're still engaged as of today. The Phase 2 AET final design project continues. We have regular meetings with our own staff, with the MOBIS involved, to talk about the out front new highway realignment in New Gantry. Everything's good there. And Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification project commenced in February. I issued a notice to proceed, so that one is underway. The ATMS Bridge Safety and Video Analytics, we've recently done some system testing here at Newport Bridge with Parsons, the design consultant. We've had several meetings with them to kind of get them brought back into the fray a little bit and force them to do some of their own testing, since up to this point we've really only done our own. So far the testing has produced decent results. We're working through some challenges on the reliability end, which has to do with the servers and the back end a little bit. But the system, as far as performance of the metrics involving detections of stopped vehicles and people walking on the bridge and whatnot, have actually performed pretty well. Safety measures feasibility study, I issued a notice to proceed in January. That's underway. The consultant Atkins has engaged with some consultants, and their first step really is collection of a lot of data. So we'll be doing some bridge visits to Mount Hope and Jamestown to collect some data and get started at the background on that. And then on the load ratings and inspections, we're finishing up Mount Hope Bridge, load rating and routine inspections. That one's wrapping up. And same with Secana River Bridge. Newport Bridge main span routine inspection, we just received the report on that. And Jamestown Verrazano Bridge, we've just approved, so we're going to move forward with that one after this board meeting.
Okay, thank you. More questions?
Just about additional funding, are you going to brief us on that, Lori, for the safety barriers?
I can touch upon that.
Okay. Next, financial requests.
January year-to-date results continue to be strong. Overall revenue was higher than budget by $5.1 million, or 22%. Total revenue was higher by $5.9 million, while the gas tax proceeds were down by $500,000. Year-to-date operating expenses were lower than budget by approximately $600,000, and overall operating profit exceeded budget by $5.7 million. The operating expenses that were over budget, including telephone, DMV lookup fees, postage, envelopes, paper, credit card fees, are primarily due to the increase in revenue from the bill-by-mail transactions. Overall, we are pleased with the top-line growth, and we continue to emphasize controlling our expenditures. February, just to let you know, February looks like it will be coming in like January, so it should be another strong month. And I'll take any questions you may have on the details that I said.
Questions, comments?
One comment Katie may want to make about traffic last week here, which was
It was
big
very
smile.
good. Yes, of course, after the Newport St. Patrick's Day Parade, I run to come in and look at the numbers. In past years, when the weather's good, it can be upwards of 40,000, which in the middle of the winter is great. This year, again, the weather was not great, but we had, it was just over 31,000 on Friday, which was the highest day of traffic we've had since December 15th. So, very good. I was excited.
All right, good. Thank you.
And I just would comment, Jeff, I really appreciate the narrative form of this. That's very, very easy to digest. Thank you.
Thank you.
Further comments? Okay.
Okay, so thank you. So first thing I'd like to mention is, we are still listening to our constituents, to our customers, to our motorists, to our host community elected officials who have asked us for additional hours in walk-in centers. I know some of you as board members, if people know you are board members, maybe you get asked that question too. Could there be some more customer-friendly hours? So you'll hear me, if you listen to the Newport radio station, you'll hear me a little bit later this morning talking to Bruce Newberry on WADK about the fact that we're going to give it a try and have a couple of Thursday nights when we will have walk-in hours from 4 to 7. It sounds easy. It's not so easy because our back office system is doing work at night, so we have to work with them and say, don't do anything while we have these open hours where customers can walk in. And we also have to make certain that the DMV, we coordinate with the DMV, because some of the transactions that we will do with people who walk in during those hours have to be transmitted to the DMV, so we have to coordinate with them, and some of them may have to, some of the transactions we do on these Thursday nights may have to be put through in the morning, so we don't interfere with DMV's operations. So we're excited, we're only doing it, the staff has been cooperative, which I'm very appreciative of. Stepped up to work, the 4 to 7 hours. We do have, Steve Cahill will be here with, for security purposes, because, we do need security in the walk-in center. So we'll give this a try and see if we can come up with some more, a different system to give people more opportunity to conduct their business in person. So that's one thing.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Other than you being on, I didn't even know Newport had a radio station.
Whoa.
Sorry, but are there other outlets?
Yes,
which-
yes, we will be doing an email blast to all of our customer base. So if you have an EasyPass account, you'll notice an email that says that, we're gonna have these hours. We've also put out in social media, we put it out last week, at the beginning of this week, saying this Thursday, next Thursday, we'll have these additional hours. We need to reach the Providence zip
Right.
codes, because when we took a look at where a campaign for EasyPass needed to focus, the answer was the zip codes around this area and also in the Providence area. So we do need to tell them, hey, come on down if you'd like to. You can also go online, you can also call us. You can also go to a AAA office, but if you'd like to come down and say hello to us and do your business here, then we're going to try and accommodate and have a few extra.
So that we heard what she's going to say on the radio.
And you already heard it. That's all right. That's
Got the
good.
sneak
That's-
preview.
That's good.
Stole her thunder.
That's all right.
Yeah,
That's all
so-
right.
What
Sorry.
time, what time is the?
11:06 on WADK this morning.
I
It's
know
Bruce
that
Newberry.
there's a-
It's funny because he and I have something. Bruce Newberry, who runs the station, he's actually a Tauntonian by birth, as I am. So we have some things in common. So it's good. It's always kind of fun to talk with him. So we're going to do that, and we're excited about that. We think it's going to inform us also, because we're going to keep track of what kind of transactions come in that night. Is it people coming in to open new accounts? Are they putting vehicles on existing accounts? Are they trying to resolve violations? Trying to open a commercial account. What are they trying? What do they need to do? So we'll be tracking that to see how we can better serve our customer base. That I'm going to skip federal funding because it leads in nicely for a second. It leads in nicely to the General Assembly, and the next one, the State of the State's Bridges. We will have the legislators from the host communities here next Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 12:30. We did this last year too. We invited all the legislators. They appreciate the invitation. They like to come and hear what we're doing. We have a PowerPoint presentation. We show them the dehumidification. We show them how it works, with the water that's released from the system. We tell them what we're doing. The feedback we got last year was, you need to be more customer friendly. So we'll be able to say to them, we listened, and we're trying to do what you asked us to do for your constituents. So we're excited about doing that. Going back to the federal funding for a second, we are fingers and toes crossed. This is supposed to be the week that we hear about the Bridge Investment Program. We have submitted the Mount Hope Bridge dehumidification project and the redecking of the Mount Hope Bridge as a bundled project. We're waiting to hear on that. We were told this week was likely to be the week when we would hear the answers as to which projects are successful. If we're not successful with bridge investment, then we also have a new RAISE grant submission pending already. And I'm not sure that they have given us a date. Jeff, you may know as to when we would hear on that, but we've always got a plan B if we don't get the money from bridge investment. We already have the irons in the fire for the next RAISE grant round, and we'll hear on that. And we're persistent. We're very persistent. We will stay at it, and we're already close to 100 million in what we've received to date. And we will just continue to look for the money. Peter, you asked about a safety barrier, additional funding. Senator DePalma, I know, is looking for that money for us, as are other members of the General Assembly. We've had discussions with leadership, we've had discussions with some of the stakeholders, some of the senators and reps who care more. We do need another $750,000 if we want to do the safety barrier study on the Pell. So we're looking for that. We're going to stay tuned and see if we get that money. In the meantime, as Eric indicated, we're proceeding with Atkins doing the safety barrier study on the Mount Hope and the Jamestown. So, I put next to your place settings here this morning a bill, a letter that just so you have this, it's in draft, but there's a hearing Friday on a bill that we've put in. It's a bill to give our motorists more time to pay the first notice that arrives in the mail. Right now, it's 14 days. With the post office sometimes being a bit slow, with people being away on vacations or hospitalized or whatever reason, sometimes 14 days isn't very much. Especially when something comes in the mail and maybe goes to the bottom of the pile. So we're asking the legislature, we have submitted a bill. The new representative here in Jamestown, Rep. Finkelman, he's the lead sponsor, but the Quidnick Island contingent of representatives has put it in. There'll be a Senate version as well, and that we're asking that the 14 days go to 30, and we've explained in here why that makes sense for us. We really want our customer service people focusing on the more difficult tolling issues, not the calls and the visits from people saying, I just got to the bottom of my pile of mail and there's a violation there, and it's the 14th day or it's the 15th day, and what do I do now? We think 30 days is more reasonable, it's more in keeping with industry standards. So, and Katie had an interesting statistic. She looked at all of the adjustments we make due to postmark issues, and it was 40% of the adjustments we make are due to postmark issues. So things crossing, a check crossing in the mail with the violation that we have sent to the customer. So, and again, hopefully we get more people to sign up for Easy Pass, and that reduces the volume of mail, but this, pushing it out to 30 days, it should also reduce costs of postage and paper, and allow our staff to focus on other things. I think that's pretty much what I have to tell you about what's going on here. And that in a nutshell.
Anyone have questions of the executive director?
I think you might want to mention the DOT ramp project briefing that we had the other day.
Yep. In terms of, we obviously are working in coordination with the DOT, because many people think that ramp project belongs to us, but it is a DOT project. But the city of Newport is especially Rep. Carson has been looking for more information on how the ramp project will eventually look and how it will look in the interim. So we were all, Eric and Jeff Wiggin and I and Peter was there as well the other night to attend a meeting where the project manager for DOT for this ramp project talked about the ramp project. And one thing I will note, there are people who are inadvertently ending up on the bridge, not intending to come over. So we have adopted, trying to be reasonable, and we've adopted, I'll call it the 5-minute rule, which is, that if someone calls and says, it wasn't clear to me, I was not trying to go over the Newport Bridge, I ended up on the bridge, I ended up turning around in Jamestown and going back and being on my way, we've adopted a 5-minute rule that if we look at our records and sure enough it appears that they did exactly that, then we will refund them the tolls they did not intend to incur.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, so.
What happens in Orangeville, you end up in Johnston.
Yeah, so we will look forward to that project being finalized and and everything being
When is the
clear.
completion date of that?
by Memorial Day, things are gonna look different, but Eric or Peter, if you want to speak to it,
The ramp
the
project?
entire ramp project, I
He
think is.
showed, if I remember right, fall of '24.
Right, that's,
When
So-
will it be less confusing?
Well, so hopefully the confusion will be alleviated after, like around Memorial Day. They're trying to get it in before the sailing,
Yeah.
event over in Newport. They're trying to get the new crossover done. Although the other night, so originally that was supposed to happen the other night. I did not hear that the crossover would be done, which is the two left turns into Newport now. But, it should be less confusing in a couple of
Because
months.
that event's in May, isn't it?
It is. So we had some meetings with, Discovery Newport and whatnot, and to talk about, what's it gonna look like for the race when all of these people are gonna be coming into Newport, so.
the biggest,
Go ahead.
the biggest change I think that's proposed, even in the interim, is that the connection between Farewell Street and JT Connell
Yeah,
Highway
yeah.
and the rotary would be a direct one. Instead
That's
of
right.
all the
Instead of
digging
having
and-
to,
Yeah, you have to go right and
Right,
then left
right.
and then back down
Right.
again. There's gonna be a direct connection from the rotary directly back to Farewell Street in America's Cup.
that'll help.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's.
Because that road got
that-
cut off back when they put the ramps in the sixties.
Yeah.
That road, that
Just
ended
dead
down
ended,
by the
right.
trolley barn
Right.
where they have all the Newport trolleys. Now that's gonna be reconnected again, so you'll have from the roundabout, now the new roundabout, you'll have a direct access right to downtown Newport.
I think that'll, to answer your question, I think that will help simplify things.
I hope so. Okay, thank you. Further questions? All right, we're going to go into executive session. Pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 42-46-5A, matters of security, cybersecurity initiatives, as well as pursuant to General Laws 42-46-5A1, personnel matters, job performance, and executive director. Do I have a motion? Discussion? Do I have a motion to come out of executive session? Motion made. Second, discussion, hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Motion to seal the minutes of executive session.
So moved.
Motion, seconded, discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. And finally, do I have a motion to extend the executive director's contract for an additional 2 years
Beyond the current.
beyond February 2023? Right?
Now, the 2-year extension beyond the current expiration
Okay,
date.
okay. With the same terms.
Conditions, that's right.
Conditions. Motion seconded, discussion, hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank
And,
you.
any
Thank
other?
you, you've done a great job.
Yeah.
Any other discussion, comments? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.